a lot of hockey this week.
Super early.
But there are some teams that I've watched, and we're not going to talk about them in depth because I realized that they're 3-1 when I put this out there. I had the Hurricanes on the panic switch button because if you watch them play, they don't look like the Carolina Hurricanes, but they're finding ways to win. So, maybe that ends up negating itself.
Yeah.
But is there anybody else you think
but
is
to that
on the
point,
panic?
I would say not necessarily panic switch, but interesting. Like if you've looked at the stats over the last couple of years with Freddie Anderson and Antti Raanta, they've both had a steady decline over the last couple seasons in their performance. So I don't necessarily know if that's a panic switch for Carolina. More so, you should probably be putting Peter Kochetkov in there ASAP because one of these guys is going to get hurt. They do every single year. You might as well just put the kid in now, and you could win games more decisively. That's just my take.
Yeah. As a guy who has Freddie Anderson in fantasy, he is marked as day-to-day right now. He got pulled 2 days ago in the first.
There it is.
So, and Raanta got blew up on Saturday, I think. I think he got the nod on Saturday. He got blew up. So, no, I'm with you. Like a 3-goalie situation isn't ideal, but you have Kochetkov there. Work him in now, like while you're still ahead of the game. Let him get some minutes. So,
yeah, but
maybe
somebody, maybe Justin, that we're talking over each other. There must be a delay happening.
I think there's a delay. Yeah,
naturally. So I will pose this question to you, Justin, off the top of the bat because it is your boys. The Devs we talked about should be coming into the season being a favorite now, a monster. Do you feel that? And again, it's still super early. There's only been 3 games played. They're 1-1-1, so they're starting a new slate tomorrow when they play the Islanders. Are you hitting the panic switch already with the way that they've played so far?
No, but I will say this. If you watch them, it's frustrating. It is really, especially if you're a fan and you're invested. When the boys played Florida on Monday, they didn't show up until the third period. You can't do that. You can't do that with the Stanley Cup Finals team from last year who won the President's Trophy the year before. You can't take 2 entire periods off before you start showing up. That it just can't happen. When they played the Coyotes, they didn't show up until the second period. We saw how that turned out. They go to the shootout and losing the shootout to the Coyotes last Friday. In the opener against Detroit, it took them 5 to 10 minutes to start. Why is this happening? That needs to stop. Lindy Ruff is already putting the blender on him. I think we're going to see Meyer on Hughes's line, which I'm intrigued to see. I think Toffoli is going to go to Heischer's line. I've seen talk of maybe it's Bratt, Hughes, Meyer going forward as the top line, Heischer, Toffoli, and Mercer on the second line. I'm all for it. A couple things I've noticed is people quick to blame V2 and Schmid because I think we've given up like 10 goals already this season, but most of those 10 goals are the team leaving them out to dry. Like, here and there, maybe you should have stopped that. Maybe V2 gets caught off guard, caught out of position, but for the most part, it's a defender losing their man. But the defense, reasons I'm not panicking. Sorry, I'm getting long-winded here. It's the boys. Sense. It's been frustrating, but reasons I'm not hitting the panic switch. A lot of the guys haven't gotten going yet. Bratter has come out looking grittier. Like the game they won against Detroit, the boys were playing physical, and Bratter laying hits. Man, talk about things I never saw coming. I've always just assumed he was a finesse pretty boy. But he's got a little grit to him. I want to see that out of Timo. Timo hasn't gotten going yet. Heischer hasn't gotten going yet. Dougie's looking good. He's put into Hughes is Jack Hughes. He's going to do Jack things. He was able to do it against Detroit, but we're playing against the first 3 games have been really against like really physical teams, and we're a finesse team. So we're a finesse team that just hasn't gelled, Joe. All those words to say we're a finesse team that hasn't gelled yet. I do think that making the switches to the lines is a good call. We just need a little bit more time for the defense to get it together. So all those words to say, no, I'm not hitting the panic switch on the boys yet.
Well, again, it's only been 3 games, and that goes across the board, even though we are doing this segment today of the panic switch, yes or no. Usually at least about the first month into the season, maybe 6 weeks into the season is where you really kind of see where a team is at. Like, sure, there was training camp to kind of start getting your legs underneath you, but most of these guys didn't play. None of them played every preseason game, so like it takes a few games to get your legs underneath you, number one. So yeah, it's not really, more so this wasn't expected to start the season for the Devs. It's been a slow start, as all the words that you said. One couple things that I thought of while you were while I was letting you say your words for your boys. Jesper Bratt leads the team right now with 3 goals. He is also number 2 in points with 5. Jackie Hughes leads the team with 6 points, and Jackie Hughes leads the team with 4 assists. One interesting stat, Justin, Timo Meier leads the team with 6 penalty minutes. Not good for your boy. I also, even though I'm not a Devs fan, but I do enjoy seeing this young team rise up. So I don't wish any bad on them. I want to see them succeed. And for Timo, I would really just like to see him wake up. Like, I feel like, all right, you had 21 games last season with the Devs, with this squad, plus however many playoff games, 14 or
12.
Excuse me, not 14, 12 games in the playoffs. And so what is that math? 30, you're almost at 40 games played with this squad now, almost 40 games. Like, it's time to wake up, bud. Like, I want to see you succeed. You know what I mean? We talked about and gave you praise that you have that money now. I need to see you wake up, because I don't want to have to start using my favorite phrase, but if it doesn't happen soon, I'm going to have to start saying my favorite phrase, and everybody knows what that is. So, and then to the last point of what you said, kind of leaving V2 and Schmidt out to dry, but but also this team has to get in the offensive zone and put in some zone time. Like, if you're just stuck in the defensive zone, you know what? After a 30-second shift, if the other team is in the zone for over 30 seconds, those guys are tired. The defensive guys are tired AF. So a goal is bound to happen unless you get it out. So it's not just on the goalies either. So moving on. You go ahead.
This is a team I'm completely shocked is 0-3 at this, whatever the record is. I think it's
0-3-1.
0-3-1. Okay. But the
in
Seattle
4 games,
Kraken,
1 point achieved.
The Seattle Kraken. Talk about like a team that I was super geeked up to see. And this is different. I failed to mention this with the Devs, but the Devs last season were better on the road. So far, 3 home games. That's not an excuse. It's just looking at history, they were better on the road last year. So take that for what you were. The Kraken were the second best road team last season, and they've done both home and away games and still not waking up. What do you think's going on in Seattle, Joe?
I mean, the biggest thing is they can't score goals. They can't score. And most of the guys are back on the squad. I mean, you did lose Saucy and Danny Sprong, but those guys weren't putting up like 20-goal campaigns. They were adding some goals, but your main guys are still there. McCann is still there. Schwartz is still there. Tolvanen is still there. Like, they just can't score right now. They've literally put in 3 goals in 4 games. You're not going to win any hockey games that way, especially with, and I was hyping up Gruby for being a Vezina candidate this year, which, it still could happen, but he has looked terrible in 4 games. Absolutely terrible. Save percentage under 9, like 887. That is awful, dude. Awful.
Yeah.
And you don't have Marty Jones there anymore to, lean to. Like, you have Joey DeCord. Okay. Yeah. That's not Marty Jones. And again, Marty Jones isn't like, the all-star of all-stars, but he was a solid goaltender last year for the Kraken. So goaltending has not been there. Can't score goals. And again, I haven't been able to watch the full game, but even from the highlights, it doesn't look like they're playing very physical either. And they were playing kind of physical last year. So kind of everything in a mixed bag is just going wrong right now for the Kraken. And I'm not necessarily hitting the panic switch because, again, we will say a lot this episode. It's still very early in the season, but you have got to get a win against the Avs. They play tonight. You have to pick up a win tonight. Otherwise, you start losing, 5 or more in a row. That's a bad way to start. You're already digging a hole for yourself in the Pacific, which is super competitive.
Mm-hmm. Well, and to what I was saying when I was talking about the Devs, when you watch the Devs games, you can see the magic there. There's times where Hughes and Toffoli, they'll do something magical. It doesn't end up in a point, but you can see something going on. You can see that the boys are playing hard. When I watch the Kraken, I see nothing. And that is frustrating for a team they were one of my favorite teams to watch last year. And the times I've been able to watch full Kraken games, I saw 1 or 2 of them, and it's just sure. And again, you get the tough draw. You draw Vegas on one of the first days of the season, and Vegas is a wagon, as we knew they would be. But still, you gotta put up. You gotta show up. You gotta lay the body, and you have to do at least one of those things to show some fire out there on the ice, and we're just not getting that from Seattle, and it's disappointing, man.
It's very disappointing, and I correct myself. They're actually playing Carolina tonight, which might actually be worse than Colorado, truly. So yeah, just a quick little stat. So like I said, the Kraken have played 4 games, and they've only scored 3 goals. They are last in the league as of right now. And what is interesting about that is Anaheim has played 2 games and they've scored 7 goals. St. Louis has played 2 games and they've scored 3 goals also. So there's teams that have played less games and scoring more goals than the Kraken, and that is troublesome. So they need to score, and they need to score often, and they need to score a lot. And if they don't start scoring, it's going to be in for a rough season. And I think, last season, nobody saw them coming. So I feel like the run that they had, now it's kind of like teams have woken up to the Kraken. They're going in knowing that this team could explode. So it's not going to come as easy as it did. Not that it came easy last year, but you know what I'm saying? Teams know that the Kraken can be a good team now. So every night is going to be tough. It's not going to be a walk in the park.
Yeah. And man, again, you hate to bury a team, but of the 2 teams we've talked about so far, I think Seattle is the closer to the panic switch. But yes. Moving on to this last team that we have listed here, the Buffalo Sabres, man. Again, this young team, I haven't been able to see a full game yet, so I'm gonna let you say more here. But the fact that Levy's not looking great, he's getting pulled, and it's troublesome again for a team that I was so excited to see going into the season. The fact that they're just not who I thought they were. Is it time for the panic switch for them, you think, Joe?
No, I don't think so, because they did pick up their first win the other night against the Lightning, which is a big win for them in overtime. That was huge. And like you said, yeah, Levi was definitely not who we thought he was initially in the first couple games. Like he didn't look as solid as he was towards that last end of the year run last year. But I think he has figured it out. I feel like there's definitely a lot of pressure on Levi too. I mean, he literally came right from college, so he hasn't had any AHL experience, any real minor experience. So he's just getting thrown to the wolves, which I think will be good for him. But I think those first couple games were just kind of getting the cobwebs out. So again, they essentially were beating the Lightning the other night. The Lightning came back and tied it up and sent it to overtime. Which, that's for a young team like Buffalo, that is probably disheartening, but they ended up picking it up and scoring in overtime. And that was the game the end of the game that I saw when I mentioned that I haven't seen very much of it. But I saw them go into overtime and they controlled that entire overtime. So like they weren't panicking then and they picked up their first win. I think, being at home and losing, that was tough to do. That home opener and losing that game was tough. But I think this team is going to go on the right stride now. They beat the Lightning, a good team. So it's definitely not time to hit the panic switch by any means. I think that's just probably the same how we were just talking about the Kraken being like other teams know now that Buffalo is a good team. So they can't just necessarily creep up and win a game like they did last year. Like where did these get? Who's Tage Thompson? Where'd he come from? Who's Dylan Cousins? Who's Rasmus Dahlin? Like all these guys kind of came out of the woodwork to reaching their potential last year. So I think more so those first couple games that they lost were just more of a reality check. I think that moving forward, they're going to be the team that we talked about in the offseason that we think that they can be.
It is interesting that you could say the same thing about all three of these teams. Is that last year they kind of surprised people, and this year they're starting out slow and struggling. But definitely, I can see it happening for Buffalo. I can see the turnaround for New Jersey. I am very worried about Seattle. Of the three that we've talked about.
I am too. And I do want to go back to the Buffalo real quick. They lost that home opener to the Rags of all teams, 5-1. Like they got blown out. And I think that was, while I hate saying that, but that was, I think, the best slap in the face. Because again, the next game they came back and beat the Lightning, and now I think they'll be on the right trend to move forward like they're supposed to. They play, at the time of this recording, they play Calgary tonight, which is going to be a tough matchup, but they are at home. Buffalo's at home. So hopefully they can get a win at home to kind of right the ship and be back to 500.
I mean, to that point, like, I feel like New Jersey has a wake-up game here against, of all teams, the boring-ass Isles. I think nothing can squash out.
They should destroy them. They should destroy them.
They should. But like I feel like the Yotes the other night should have beat them, and the Coyotes go in there and lose 1-0. Is there another team that can be so frustratingly boring as the New York Islanders? But like, that is a team, in no offense to Isles fans who may be watching or listening, but that's a team that
you can take offense. You can take offense.
New Jersey should go in there, and this is the game. Put your foot down. Show them this is New Jersey hockey, and this is who we are. This will be a great time for Timo to wake up, put 2 in, shoot, put 1 in, get an assist, and let's see some grimy stuff near the net. Like, that's why we got you. Let me see some aggression near the net. That's why you're on this team. So I don't know what to say about Seattle, though.
Yeah, again, like you mentioned, they're the closest to hitting the panic switch for sure. They just, I think they just got to get their head out of their butts, truly. And really, shoot the puck. I mean, as simple as that sounds, but I was trying to look back. So real quick, the new updated NHL app is terrible. It is difficult to slide back and see past scores from a few days prior. Like, you can only see a couple days at a time. It sucks. So shout out NHL. Your new app sucks. So I was trying to look at shots, but I believe the Kraken have been outshot. They've definitely been outshot every game, but I don't even think, I want to say, and don't quote me on this because I haven't been able to look at every game, but like I don't think they've hit 30 shots yet, which is awful.
Just same thing keeps it. I mean, that same thing could be said about New Jersey. Shoot the puck, especially. I mean, again, they pull it out against Detroit, but I think they only had like 6 shots in the first period against Detroit. Against Arizona, like, again, that for the first period, like, they were just getting outshot. Second period, I feel like it started getting closer. The game against Florida, just completely outshot pretty much the entire game until it evened out in the third period. Let's not do that. Shoot the puck. They keep looking for they'll take an extra pass. They'll hold on the puck a little too long instead of, hey, you have some elite shooters. Like, who cares if you miss? Put the tendy on his heels.
So to that point, I stand corrected. The Kraken have actually hit 30 shots at least in every single game. So that's even worse. They just can't put the puck in the net.
Well, there you go.
They just can't score. That's even worse, honestly. That's even worse. Like, you're getting the shots, like you can't score. So Kraken need to score goals. New Jersey needs to wake up, and Buffalo is the best case scenario, I think, of this segment of Panic Switch or not. Buffalo, I think, getting that win against Tampa Bay, they should be on the stride up now. We'll see tonight when they play the Calgary Flames. So we'll see tonight.
So that said, we're moving on to, we're going to go a man up here. We watched a lot of hockey this week, Joe, and honestly, yesterday was the first day I haven't watched hockey since opening night.
Same, yeah, I didn't watch. Well, I did see some. I watched like 5 minutes of the Capitals versus Senators game and wanted to throw up. So,
well, Kemps has got a Kemps, man.
Oh my God, that guy sucks so bad, so bad, so bad. He's terrible.
Anyway. Mean, not a terrible start for Kemps until last night, but so we decided that we wanted to kind of incorporate something that happens in hockey, every night. We're going to bring out the 3 stars of the week. This is going to be something we're going to do every week. So it could be a player, it could be a team, could be, it could be whatever from the week in hockey. So I'll let you take this first one. Who's the first BarnChirper star of the week this week, Joe?
Well, I think we can both agree, and really there's no debate of it because we talk about them every single show since this program's existence, and that's the Arizona Coyotes. The Yotes being competitive AF. These boys, we talked them up this offseason, but these boys have shown up every game so far this season, and while they only have the 1 win currently to their record, they are 1-2, but those 2 losses have only been by 1 goal. They lost to the Islanders 1-0, and they lost to the Rags 2-1. And that, like, specifically against the Rangers in Madison Square Garden, to only lose 2-1 is massive.
Yeah.
And to that same point, there was a power play goal, and the other one was an empty netter. So, like, both of those things you can fix those. Don't take bad penalties, and obviously score more goals so you're not a man down, so you don't get an empty net. So, like, That's major for this team. Absolutely major. And I know I wanted to talk about the normal Tendy thing, but I'm going to give it to you for that second part of why the Yotes are number one.
Vejmelka, dude. Like, we have to shower put some flowers on Vejmelka here. When they came to New Jersey for their first game, I knew that it wasn't going to be easy, because I think in our text thread you said go Yotes, and I was like, okay, I get that, and I immediately responded with, they're going to be a tough out. And that wasn't me, taking the pressure off. And, we talked about it all off season. They made moves, and I'll get back to Vejmelka in a second, but immediately the big acquisitions, Dumba, Durzi, each scored goals against New Jersey. And in the first period, that's huge. And, to your point, Vejmelka was standing on his head. Again, we talked about the elite shooters that New Jersey has, and he's just brushing them off. And he looked great in the net, and has so far this season in the 3 games that they've played. So flowers to Vejmelka specifically on the Coyotes. What a dude.
Right. Yeah. 100%. And Ingram looked good too in his start that he had too. So yeah, I mean, just snaps and claps, stick taps and sellies to the Arizona Coyotes all around. I love to see it. Are they going to be a playoff team? Probably not. But boy, I tell you what, coming out the gates the way they have, while they're 1-2, like, that says a whole lot more about that squad than, the Kraken that we just talked about, or, really, really, truly, the 3 teams that we talked about in the first segment, the Kraken, the Devs, and Buffalo. Like, while they have a losing record, but the effort, that's far and above what we've seen from the other teams so far. Before we move on to the next star, that's one thing I wanted to say, is that watching the Coyotes so far this year has been a lot like watching the Kraken last year. Is young guns up front with a big solid blue line and solid Tendy work. Can that carry over? Can they keep that up? My guess is come January, they're probably starting to fade out of the conversation. But I hope not, man. I hope they can keep the pressure on. I hope they're buyers at the deadline, and I hope they can make a push and get into the playoffs. We talk about it all the time, man. I want new blood. I'd love to see the Coyotes do something and get out of Mullet Arena and be able to play in front of more fans. So that's so many flowers. Hopefully this is not the last time that the Arizona Coyotes get a star from the BarnChirpers. Well, they'll definitely get mentioned no matter what, because that's our thing. But
that's what we do.
Why don't you take number 2? Or actually, do you want me to take number 2 and you can do number 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so on the same token, our number 2 star of the week, just talking about another team that has shown up so far right away at the beginning of the season, and that's the Vancouver Canucks. What? We literally, on our preseason episode of the Vancouver Canucks, talked about none of these guys were interesting enough to talk about, and it was so difficult to come up with a would you rather and an over-under. And wouldn't you know it, and I'm happy to say it, Brock Boeser heard the episode of the BarnChirpers and he said, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to put up 4 goals. And he did. They put a massive walloping on the Edmonton Oilers 2 games in a row, 8-1. And then I think the second game was a little bit closer, but they destroyed the Edmonton Oilers in the first game. So the second stars of the week, the Vancouver Canucks. Clap it up for the Vancouver Canucks there.
Can't say enough.
Brock Boeser scored. Connor Garland scored. JT Miller was on the board. Elias Pettersson. Everybody got on the score sheet, seemingly. Tocchet coached them up. So I'm here to see where it goes. I don't want to see, again, is this the gaslighting Vancouver Canucks? We'll see. But maybe here's the thing with number 1, why they're number 2, and also why we're both here for it is, normally it's been a slow start and then all of a sudden they start to make a push, but they've dug themselves in a hole so deep that they can't get out of it. And that's why, it's always, we call it the gaslighting Vancouver Canucks. But so far now they've started better than they have since at least the 2018-2019 campaign. They've won a couple games. Normally they lose a few and then might win one and then lose a few more. So it's the best start so far. So we'll see if they can continue that trend. I feel like that's a confidence thing. If you keep the confidence in players and in the team, and the team believes in what the coach is saying, you're going to go far in that. So I'm here for it.
Not much to add other than you already said it, the gaslighting Canucks. Like, who saw this coming? Like, I mean, again, kudos, get it done. We love to see it here, and the BarnChirpers and other things we love to see is our third star of the week, the San Jose Sharks, but an extra special stick tap to Mackenzie Blackwood. Yeah.
Yep.
In game 2, I mean, again, not much to show for it on the table, like as far as win-loss record. But if you watch the Sharks play, they're playing excited, hot. They're playing hot. They're coming out and playing hard and gritty and playing up. Like there's a lot of small guys on the San Jose Sharks that are playing big hockey. And again, it may not show on the score sheet,
yes,
but they're not laying down. And Mackenzie Blackwood, 51 saves the other night, Joe. Most in a debut ever, period. End of story. I'll tell this to any Sharks fan listening. You got a good one with Mackenzie Blackwood. You really did. The only reason he's not a Devil anymore is because he couldn't stay on the ice. So if the injury bug stays away from him, which he's got Kakin in there, so it'll be a true split type thing for them. Again, is he going to be Vezina? No, but he's going to be a guy who's going to keep you in games. And if the team can get better down the line, he'll be a guy who can win you games. You hate to see him go, but I love to see him playing well in San Jose.
And that specific game was against the Colorado Avalanche of all teams, and the Sharks took them to a shootout. That is massive on a team that has Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, to name 3. Like that Colorado team, and we know what the Sharks are. Well, we don't know what they are exactly. We know they're not good, but to take them to a shootout, dude, that's pretty massive. And the Sharks had the lead most of that game. It wasn't until later in the game when Cale Makar evened it up. So it was literally like a minute left in the third period when Cale Makar tied it up. So that's huge for the San Jose Sharks. Like you said, we've talked about it. They're going to be bottom of the barrel in the league, but it's a good sign if Blackwood can keep up these type of performances, hopefully not having to stop 50 shots every game, hopefully. Right. But if the Sharks can play that way, Blackwood, like you said, can keep you in games, and at least while you're rebuilding, it won't be embarrassing.
Yes. Yeah. You're going to take L's because the talent just isn't there. But if you can come away from 2-1 wins, 3-2 wins, 1-0 wins, like that looks a lot better than getting blown out 5-1. I'm looking at you, Soup.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right. Well, even to that point, though, I mean, the kid Philip Zadina has got 2 goals already. It's only 2 goals, but he's lighting the lamp. Literally one player on the Sharks has 2/3 of the points that the Kraken have scored the entire season. So,
chirp.
That's what I do. Your boy Zetterlund has a goal, so he's contributing to the team. He's got a goal and an assist. So, I'm interested to see how the Sharks play out. And I said that before on this show that I guess I'm speaking for both of us, we are intrigued by whatever the Sharks are going to do this season. So third star of the week there, Mackenzie Blackwood. Stick taps and sellies, boys.
Yeah. And so that's going to be something we're going to do every week. It's really basically a consensus thing. We kind of mash what our ideas of the week were together, and, consensus. What this week was teams that shouldn't be showing something showed us something. So let's pull the goalie here and get out these last couple of thoughts before we go. I'll throw out this first one because I tossed this into the text thread yesterday. Our birthdays, ladies and gentlemen, in case you want to buy us presents, are like 5 days apart from each other. Joe's is coming up. What is it?
We love
Sunday?
Sweaters.
Just saying, we know a place where you can get one for like
Monday.
Yeah. So, and then mine is next Friday. So next Friday, if you are in the Hampton Roads area, if you are in Norfolk, we're going to go watch the Norfolk Admirals play the Wheeling Nailers. So if you'd like to come to that game, we'd love to see you there. I guarantee you. We'll even have our third there. We'll have Corey with us. We might be a whole unit rolling out there because I think there's some kids coming.
A full podcast unit for the second time ever. While we're 6 months into this thing.
It's going to be crazy times indeed. So come out to Norfolk Scope Arena. Come watch the Norfolk Admirals play the Wheeling Nailers. And you wanted to throw me for a loop here with this last one. I'm interested in this.
I did. Yeah, I did. So, again, we're only about – most teams have played 3. Some have played 4. Again, some have only played 2. But so far in this early season, Justin, I wanted to give you a stat of the top 5 teams that have the most goals for scored so far this year. Do you want to take a guess at who the top 5 are?
Well, with an 8-goal appearance, Vancouver has to be in there somewhere, right? I don't know where they are, but Vancouver has to be.
They're close, but they are not in the top 5. But they're close.
Okay. Shoot. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm trying to think of some other high-scoring games because I know. Let's see.
There's 3 of them that you would definitely expect.
Toronto's got to be in there because Matthews has 6 on his own. Yeah.
Yes.
Matthews has 6 on his own. Okay.
Toronto is number 5.
I feel like Edmonton's been getting worked until last night. Or the night before. It hasn't been us yet. I think we only have 9 goals, 10 goals.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Who's been putting up points?
Number 4 is the Vegas Golden Knights with 15.
That makes sense.
Like I said, Toronto is number 5 with 14. They're tied with Pittsburgh technically. Number 1 is the Carolina Hurricanes with 20.
Okay.
And number 2, tied for second, Justin, you'll never get this. The Ottawa Senators and the Detroit Red Wings with 19 are tied for number 2.
Wow.
My boy Dylan Larkin. But yeah, they're both Ottawa and Detroit. I mean, that's kind of a quick little shout out to those teams that we've both been excited for. The podcast really has been excited for. They are off to a hot start, 3-1 start, and they play each other tonight actually. So obviously, we'll see if it's going to be a close, tight game like 2-1, or if it's going to be like 8-7.
It could go either way. It really could.
It could.
Oh man, that's exciting though. That's 2 teams that you and I are really high on. So you love to see goal scoring from 2 young teams like that at the beginning of the season. Hopefully they can keep it up. I hope they're in the conversation all year. They should be, but here's hoping. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I mean, that conversation with both those squads, and we've talked about it before, is just going to be goaltending. Like, in both cases, what's the goaltending situation? Like, can be shoddy at best sometimes. So we'll see. We can only see how it goes.
That's right. That's right. All right. I think that.
All right, everybody. Well, that is the show today. Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
I'm saying the exact same thing you did. I think it's time to wrap it.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Well, let's wrap it up. Let's go get our gear off. We are the Barn Chirpers. Again, chirp us at Barn Chirpers Pod. If you have a star of the week that you would like us to talk about, or you think we should take interest in, send that over to us at Barn Chirpers Pod. Wherever you're watching or listening, like, subscribe, 5-star. We would appreciate that. And again, next Friday, as Captain said there, we will be at the Norfolk Scope watching the Norfolk Admirals taking on the Wheeling Nailers. So come out and hang out. Buy us a Hulkster shot or a beer. Either way, in any case, we will talk to you all next week. Stick taps and sellies, boys. Clap it up.
Clap her up.